From 11:59 p.m. tonight, we will declare all of Greater Sydney and the Central Coast a red zone. Beyond that, the northern beaches will become a hot zone. What that means is that nobody who's from those parts of Sydney, Greater Sydney, or have visited that part of Greater Sydney will be allowed to travel back to Melbourne or any part of Victoria. If you do arrive back or travel here, you will face 14 days of mandatory hotel quarantine. Now, arrangements are slightly different for those Victorians who are choosing to come back early or are returning as planned. Let me just go to those quickly. If you, as a Victorian who's been in Greater Sydney, comes back to Melbourne before, not midnight tonight, but midnight Monday night, you will have to get tested within 24 hours, but you will be able to do your 14 days of quarantine at your home. If that's not safe, we will try and put you up in a hotel. That is a special arrangement for those who are from Victoria coming back to Victoria. If you're not from Victoria, and if you arrive after midnight tonight, then you will go into mandatory hotel quarantine. The door will close for home quarantine for Victorians on midnight Monday night. So if they don't get back in the next day and a half, then regardless of whether you're Victorian or not, you will go into 14 days of mandatory hotel quarantine. The road border will be a hard border. There will be 700 members of Victoria Police who will have various checkpoints, many checkpoints along the New South Wales-Victoria border. There will be a permit system, so if you want to travel to Victoria by road, you will need to get a permit. You'll need to get another permit if you had one issued yesterday because circumstances have changed. This is very dynamic, and the declaration of all of Greater Sydney and the Central Coast as a red zone will mean that if you are from that part of Sydney or have spent time in that part of Sydney, you will not get a permit.
What we see today in Sydney is not what the situation will be like a week from now. We know that when there are exposure sites across many areas with many potentially hundreds of exposed individuals, that there will be new cases cropping up over the next 14 days related to those exposure sites. Not everyone who goes to an exposure site is infectious, but there will be some people who've gone to these sites who've been infectious, who've been in close contact with others in an indoor setting, potentially for a protracted period of time, and that puts other Sydney-siders at risk.